Hey, this is Voxide, and this video will cover everything you need to know in order to get started with this template. So after you've downloaded the archive and extracted everything, you can open the project file, and this is what you should be seeing upon opening. So a couple of things to note before you actually run the script is this folder right here where it says letters, this has to be the first folder in this hierarchy. So make sure that whatever changes you make to this project, this folder remains the top folder, or else the script won't run properly. The second thing will be to go to Edit, go to Preferences, go to General. And right here there's a property, allow scripts to write files and access network. Make sure that this option is checked and then hit OK. Now you can run the script. Go to File, go to Scripts, go to Run, navigate to where you've extracted the project, and you will have a footage, script and tutorial folder. Double click the script folder, and inside this folder you will have the script. Just make sure that your extension is set to JavaScript binary file. So here is the script. Double click to open the script, and I'll just move this to the side. Now I want to start off by saying that if the script isn't working for whatever reason, make sure that you visit this information button right here. So click this button, and this pop-up will give you some guidelines in order to make the script run properly. So make sure that all of these requirements are met, and I'll go over all of these in a second. So hit OK, and let's actually start using this script. So I'll just create a new composition, and I'll name this composition title 1. You can name your composition however you want, and you can also use whatever resolution you want. It doesn't matter. In this case, I'll just be using Full HD. Just make sure that the frame rate is set to 30. And duration, again, it doesn't matter, and I'll just leave this at 12 seconds for now and hit OK. And let's move it outside this folder, and I'll just drop it over here. And just make sure that you don't mess around with this folder in any ways, and this folder is kept at the top. So that's very important in order for the script to recognize all the letters. So here is our title 1 composition, and I'll type a text here. So let's type, for example, fire titles. Note that I'm only using small case letters. This doesn't work with uppercase letters. So if I were to write something like this, fire titles with capital F and T, my letters F and T in this case will not be added. So make sure that everything is small case letters like so. Also note that instead of space, I'm using this underscore. So wherever you want space between words, just use an underscore, and that will replace the space. So for example, if you were to type in more words here, something like top 10 fire titles, I would add an underscore between each word, and this will be replaced with a space inside the actual render. So let's go back here and type fire titles. So before we hit create, make sure that your composition is indeed selected. So for example, if I don't have anything selected and I hit create, nothing will work. Just make sure that your composition is selected, or just click inside the composition here, and you can see that the composition has this yellow border, and that means that the composition is selected. And now if we hit create, this will work. So if I go forward a few seconds here, here is our text, and I can grab the first layer here and also change this to layer name. Alright, so the first layer here will be controls. And with this layer selected, I can now move around my text. Also with this control layer selected, I can press S for scale, and I can rescale my text like so and move this around. Alright, and if I go to Effect Controls here at the top and press F3 on your keyboard to show this window if it's not already showing, and here we have some further settings that we can take care of, and let's set the resolution to half. Alright, and let's see, spacing. We have size variation. We also have height variation. And you can also keyframe these properties to create some cool effects. And if you're not satisfied with how this looks, you can change the seed. Alright, so I'm scrolling through the seed value here to generate different values. And we have finally a color control. So you can change the color. Hit OK, and by default when you hit create, this also comes with a glow layer, and I'll actually just delete this glow layer for now and go back to controls. Alright, so we can reposition and readjust our text. Let's set all of these to 0. And of course you still have individual control over each letter. So for example, let's say I want to grab my F, so I'll just look for my F comp, press S for scale, and I can readjust the scaling for this and readjust the positioning. And let's see, maybe grab the last S here as well, and also press S for scale and readjust and reposition. Alright, so you can create some interesting looks, and this way, in this manner, you can format your text exactly however you want. And of course, the controls now still work, so you can still adjust the spacing and control the properties globally through the controls layer, but you also have control individually over each letter as well. Let's talk about the layers offset properties. I will grab my first letter here, so in this case F, hold down Shift and then select my last letter, and I'll hold down Control and deselect the space in between the words because I don't want this to be affected by the offset. And now, for example, if I want to create a linear offset, I will just hit linear offset. And now you can see that the letters reveal in order, and they're all nicely sequenced. And of course you can adjust the offset value, so if I hit Ctrl Z, I can maybe increase the offset. Let's maybe try a value of 15, and now there's a 15 frames offset between each letter. And if you want like exactly 1 second offset between each letter, this value will be 30, so that's 30 frames per second, and this will mean that a full second will be between each letter. Alright, let's hit Ctrl Z. For random offset, this will be, all of the layers will be offset by a random value between 0 and in this case 25. So if I hit random offset, now you can see that all letters are revealing randomly. And of course here as well you can increase the random offset, so maybe 100. And now there's a difference of 100 frames, or rather a value between 0 and 100 between each layer. Alright, so you can create some really organic reveals with this function. So these are the layer offset properties. So let's say that I'm satisfied with how this looks. You can go to project, and maybe I want to use a background as well. So let's maybe double click the blue particles background, and now I can simply drop my title 1 composition inside this blue particles background composition. Let's go forward a few frames, and I'll exit the script, and I'll add a glow to this title 1 layer. Alright, and then just simply spread the radius and adjust my glow settings here, the threshold, and maybe set this to add. Alright, and reposition this, and let's turn on titles actions safe, just to make sure that this is nice and centered. That's pretty much how everything works. Of course, you can still go back inside the title 1 composition here and readjust some of these settings and maybe change the color. Let's go with a blue, and go back inside the blue particles. Alright, so this is looking pretty nice. And after that, of course, you can go to composition, you can go to pre-render, and you can render out your file. So that's pretty much it, and hopefully I've covered everything you need to know. In case you have any questions, feel free to contact me through my VideoHive profile page, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.